Hi, I'm Ben Basch with American Pool.
And Matt Silver with Heartline Fitness.
Yeah, today we're going to take the next 10 minutes to give you an overview of some considerations for reopening your amenity spaces. We're going to start with Matt. He's going to talk about the fitness area in your community.
So a little bit about Heartline Fitness. Heartline Fitness has been around since 1983. We run an operation from Maine to Miami and out to Chicago, offering preventive maintenance, service, new equipment installation, and everything in between. First step to reopening the facility and the fitness center is the amenity assessment. The amenity assessment is a full overview of the entire fitness space, including looking at your reopening considerations or your current opening considerations in terms of making sure that your equipment is spaced out, the layout is appropriate, you have the right amount of cleaning spaces, all of your equipment is in tip-top shape, and everything's ready to go. Be prepared. Having a reopening checklist, as the example shows on the left side of this slide here, whether you're doing the amenity assessment with a professional company like Heartline or somebody else, or you're doing the amenity assessment in-house, it's really important that you are following a checklist. So you're following all Department of Health and CDC guidelines to maintaining this checklist. And obviously you want to have this safe, well-maintained equipment as part of that. Disinfect and protect. Okay, it's really important that we're creating a very inviting experience that's safe for the residents and members to come back to. Creating experience where there's clear communication. You're not going to get a second chance at a first impression. It could be a current resident that's been living there their whole life and is used to the fitness center a certain way and needs to know the new protocols in place and the safety that you've put in place, or it could be a first impression for a new resident that just moved in and isn't sure exactly how things go. So having that clear communication, having a preventive maintenance plan in place, having the proper amount of cleaning stations strategically placed through the room, and having the appropriate cleaning signage. Speaking of signage, here's some great examples of some signage that should be throughout the facility regarding social distancing, having the mask on. And again, it's all about creating an inviting experience with clear communication throughout the building. Extremely important that all residents understand the idea of the cleaning and the protocols that go into that. In health clubs, there's always been different areas to clean the facility, and we want to make sure that we're cleaning these surfaces before and after use now. So before somebody gets on that bench or that treadmill or that machine, they need to understand that they need to clean the surface before and after use, and they also need to use the right product. So one of the products we lean towards is throwaway gym wipes. And what's nice about the throwaway gym wipe is you take one, you wipe it down, and it goes right in the trash. Okay, and you want to use the gym wipe that's going to be free of ammonia, bleach, and hydrogen peroxide, is going to be safe for the equipment, and is EPA registered and CDC verified to kill COVID, such as the example on the screen. And you also want to have really fully staffed cleaning stations, like you can see the well-equipped station here on the right, where you have the hand sanitizer at the top, you have the gym wipe that comes out of the top of the bucket, and you can see inside there you also have a trash can. So people are wiping down their equipment, throwing it away in the same area, disinfecting their hands, and not spreading droplets throughout the room. Air quality, extremely important. The more we understand COVID and viruses in general, COVID specifically, it's all about keeping the air mountain fresh and keeping the air clean through different types of preparation. So we're going to go into some examples in a second. So obviously the obvious stuff, if you have the ability to open the windows, keep the doors open, have proper air circulation. That's the obvious easy stuff. In addition to upping your air filters to a MERV 13 air filter, we've partnered with a company called Atmos Solutions, Atmos Air, and they do bipolar ionization. And what's unique about bipolar ionization is it's attacking the COVID in the air. So you really want to have some kind of a clean air solution. So we're not just protecting from COVID, but we're attacking the COVID. And in summary, you want to be fully prepared. You want to have the proper cleaning protocols and proper cleaning solutions to maintain a well-appointed clean fitness center with well-maintained equipment. And you want to be able to communicate properly to all the residents. So again, they not only feel safe, but they're invited and welcome to come back to their amenity space.
All right, thanks so much, Matt. Moving into the pool space from the amenity space, we're going to talk about diving into this season, a little bit about American Pool. We were founded in 1984. We currently have 15 American Pool locations and growing. We're much like Heartline, from New England all the way down to Miami. We've got great coverage, and we provide service, full turnkey service management of the entire facility with lifeguard services, also renovation and repair, and commercial compliance expertise. So looking into this season, 2021, there's a lot of considerations that communities and facilities are wrestling with. And we always, when we're talking to a community, we begin with feasibility. It's important that everybody understands what are the requirements for operation during the pandemic. Every local health authority is a little bit different, state by state. So it's important to understand what those requirements are, and if there is a budget, if there is a will to reopen. So, examining that feasibility is the first step. Then taking steps towards risk management, everything from amenity waivers to resident education, health checks, and those things. Some of those things might be required by the local health authority, but you want to have those all worked in. And then making sure that resident expectations are managed and that they understand the environment that they are coming back into. If you look at feasibility and you decide that this pool season is another season where you're going to sit out, don't forget that there's still maintenance needed for the community pool. So as a manager or board or facility owner, it's important to continue to protect the asset, and that means assembling the seasonal, all the equipment that may have been taken down for winterization the prior year, and putting that all back together, getting the water circulating just like you were getting ready to open, and treating the water. At the end of the season on the regular timeline, you're going to go ahead and winterize it. Maintaining that water is an important part of protecting the community and protecting the public. You don't want to have a stagnant body of water in the middle of the community where you're having mosquitoes breeding. There are a lot of pathogens that mosquitoes carry, such as West Nile, and you don't want to have a situation where you've got this this stagnant, untreated water in the middle of your community. It's not a healthy situation. And by maintaining the facility, even if you're not using it, you're going to ease your reopening challenge later on. So when you come back next season and we're having this conversation again, hopefully you're ready to open at that point. You're not going to be facing accumulated repairs, terrible staining, and possibly freeze damage. Freeze damage could actually be a catastrophic event and potentially cause hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage to the facility. So super important. All right, so if you're moving forward and you've decided to open for this season, I said it earlier, you really need to manage the resident expectations and keep clear lines of communication to them, where you are in the process, what the timelines are, et cetera. Let the health department know if you're going to open. There may be permitting and other things that have to happen before you can open. So don't forget to let them know what your intentions are. And then transparency in the planning process along the way, I think will help, whether it's your management team, your vendors, the public, the health department. Everybody knows exactly where you are and what's going on, so they can, you have a good working environment to meet your goal of getting people back in the pool. So in your reopening steps, assemble your team. That's your pool professional, your manager, community manager, or facility manager, facilities team, in-house counsel, or if you are using an attorney for your association that you're contracted with, everybody needs to get on the same page. There's a lot of details to operations, especially during the pandemic. So divide the work, who's doing what, and make sure that that communication remains open and that everybody knows what's going on, so that nothing falls between the cracks. Set a realistic timeline. All right, your timeline this year might look a lot different during the pandemic than it was last year or the year before. You don't want to have people assuming that the pool is opening on a particular date, because it always has. You want to let people know when you're working towards opening. And as I mentioned earlier, in the feasibility and examining the feasibility, there are likely local requirements that you have to meet. So separate from all the other work that has to get done, you should have a specific Department of Health compliance plan that you're working off of. With all the additional requirements that you might be facing and considerations in terms of opening your pool during the pandemic, don't forget that all the previous requirements are in place that you would have in a normal season. And especially if you sat out last season, you may have certifications that have expired and other licenses. So go back and check those dates. You don't want to get snagged at the last minute. We put together a checklist that we work through with all our clients each season. And much like with the fitness area, using a checklist helps ensure that nothing gets missed. There's clear roles and responsibilities, and you're working towards target dates. A big part of managing the facility during the pandemic is managing the admittance process and also the capacity. All right. In order to maintain social distance and make it a reasonable expectation of people as they're using the facility, that they can maintain a 6-foot distance between individuals or individual groups of people that are coming to use the pool together, you can't have a situation of overcrowding. So while facility, admittance and entry is a consideration every season, when you're dealing with the pandemic, you want to make sure that you never find yourself in an overcrowded situation. A lot of communities are managing these areas through reservation system. Having cashless options for purchases. So if you have concessions inside the pool area, if that's allowed, other transactions, maybe it's pool passes or guest passes happening, having that available in a cashless way is an important part of reducing the spread of virus throughout the facility. Of course, you want to have an attendance log. That's part of managing the admittance process in case there's some kind of outbreak or in a normal season, just a regular emergency, and you need to know who was at the facility at a particular time. Very important to keep an attendance log. And then, depending on where you're located, the health department may require some kind of health check as people are coming in, and just an affirmation that, no, I'm not exhibiting any symptoms. You guys have probably seen that in a lot of the spaces that you've been entering. They'll do a health check. They'll maybe have a little questionnaire, and you have to affirm that that you're feeling good today and that you're okay to use the facility. Same thing in the pool area. In some areas that might be required, so you want to have a way to capture that information and document it. And also amenity waivers. While it doesn't take away all the liability of operations, it is still a good practice during the pandemic, and also not during also under normal conditions. All right, so most of the health department requirements, additional requirements, are going to be around cleaning and disinfection, having sanitizing stations within the facility. Maybe that's new in your pool area, but it's a good idea, and it may even be required in your local jurisdiction to add sanitizing stations. We're seeing those added. Of course, a schedule and a process for cleaning, making that transparent, having that part of your plan, letting residents know what's going on, what the frequency of cleaning is, so that they can make an informed decision of how they're going to use the pool this season, or if they're going to use the pool this season. Then they see what's going on. They know all the work that's being done, and it really should help them feel more comfortable about getting back to the pool. All right, pool furniture. This is a most communities, most facilities typically have a shared swimming pool furniture kind of arrangement. Your furniture policy might look a little bit different during COVID. You may have decided not to have furniture, or if you're putting out furniture, you're putting out less furniture. You're going to have a plan for where that furniture is going to be positioned. So you're going to have, a group of pieces, and then 6 feet from there, you'll have another set. That way, people coming together can actually use that furniture for the duration of their stay, if it's a reservation type of situation, and so on. So just another consideration. We were talking a minute ago about managing capacity and having compliance in your admittance process. We have a product that we put together to help our clients and even non-clients. It's an app that we call Amenity Link, and it's a great way to manage reservations throughout the season. It's not a software, it's an app, so it's ready to roll. It is quick to get out to residents for their use. You can use it to manage the pool, the gym, barbecue areas, bocce courts, pickleball. It can actually handle up to 26 amenities within your community. So it's a great way to make sure that these spaces are not overcrowded, and in some areas you need something like that in order to be compliant with the Department of Health. That this Amenity Link does take the place of paper passes and guest passes. So great way to bring touchless passes and transactions into the community. It'll handle your waiver and attendance documentation. It stores it, and that can be retrieved later if you need it. And it's totally designed for community manager ease of use. We really did build it with the community manager in mind, without sacrificing the experience of the residents. So if you want to see a little more about that, you can check out amenitylink.com. Hey, I just want to thank you so much for taking the last 10 minutes or so with Matt and I. It's been just a bit of a tip of the iceberg in terms of considerations, but hopefully we got you thinking, maybe called out some things that you hadn't thought out before that will make your reopening more successful.